Hello and welcome, everybody, to the Around the 412 2001 NFL first round mock draft. There were so many words thrown into that. Don't even know if I said them in the right order. But hello and welcome. We are very excited to bring this to you yet again. It's the same crew that we have from the 2020 mock that we did right here on Around the 412. We're just going to go around and you guys can introduce yourself. Let's start at the very top with who's got the first overall pick of this draft, Donnie. Although everybody should be pretty familiar with you from, being on the show and stuff. But
yeah, definitely. If you don't know me, my name is Donnie. I am a Around the 412 fantasy football specialist with Smitty during the regular season. I write for All Steelers on Sports Illustrated underneath Noah Strackmine, friend of the podcast. So big shout out to Noah. And yeah, it's pretty much all I do. Really excited. I hope I don't botch number one pick, but I feel like it's going to be really hard not to.
So you got me and Tyler, of course. We're picking 2 and 3 in this thing. Richie, your first pick is the Falcons at 4, so we'll let you take the mic here. You don't have to talk about who you're picking for later on in the draft. Just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? If you don't know who I am, my name's Richie Bradshaw. I actually am a huge fan of the Baltimore Ravens, which is that's not the team you guys like, but nonetheless. Just like the rivalry between the players, I have a lot of respect for my colleagues here who cover the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm obviously honored to be on this with you guys.
All right. Picking at number 5 with his first pick. Of course, he has the Saints later in the draft because he's a Saints fan. Nate Williamson, what's going on?
Hey, guys. It's a pleasure to be back. I'm looking forward to another great installment. And shout out to all the people that make this possible. You guys rock, sponsors, but most importantly, viewers. You keep us going.
Yeah, so he knows it. Nate knows it. Around the 412. He's speaking on behalf of us here. And of course,
I do what I can.
Last but certainly not least, Jake Shavink.
Hi, everybody. Jake Shavink. I do some draft stuff. I am the Packers guy here for sure. And obviously, mad respect for these guys. They do a heck of a job with these shows. Mock draft Mondays have been fun, but yeah, do stuff at mocks and mostly draft stuff. So it's an honor to be back, and can't wait to make some picks that will inevitably be wrong.
You know what?
On Thursday.
So Tyler and I have been doing mock draft Mondays, most Mondays leading up to the draft for like 2+ months now. And then we do our first full mock draft and we decide to give Donnie the Steelers. What were we thinking?
I don't know.
You did me a favor, bro. I needed the articles this week for sure.
I know.
So appreciate you looking out.
It's a horrible week for those. Yeah. Need more as much as possible.
Definitely got to stack it on.
What is interesting about this, so last year when we did this, at least with the 6 of us, we had made like the picks in advance. We jumped on here and talked about them, kind of went over the picks that we made. We had already known what we had done at that point, though. Following that, me, Tyler, Jake, and Nate did another one that we called Mock Draft Madness with the 4 of us, where we had no prior knowledge of each other's picks. So it got pretty interesting. We know that it can get messed up at the top. We'll see if Donnie decides to go that route. I'm thinking he's not going to. But that's what we're going to do. Yeah. Tyler did last year. He decided to throw a wrench in it right away. Most people think that this draft really starts at pick number 3. We'll see if that's how the way this goes down tonight. But to give you a little bit of clarification, we do not know what each other are going to do going into this. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Without further ado, Donnie, you can kind of kick this thing off. If you got anything to say before making the selection or not, just go ahead. Jump right into it.
All right. Yeah. I feel like everybody kind of presumes what the number 1 overall pick will be. And, a lot of people, through the offseason had a couple reservations whether or not the Jaguars should ride it out with Gardner Minshew and sell the number 1 pick for a king's ransom. I just don't think you can do that this year with Trevor Lawrence on the board. I mean, I feel like everybody has at least had him as one of the highest graded guys coming into the league in a very, very long time. A lot of people will debate whether or not he's the best quarterback prospect to come out since Andrew Luck. A new head coach, a new coaching staff, a new era in Jacksonville that they're really looking forward to, getting things kicked off. And what better way to kick it off than, you know, a generational quote unquote talent. So, you know, without further ado, the first overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars will select Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Clemson.
Yeah, that was pretty cute how you tried to have a little discussion about it. Entertaining offers for the pick, but yeah.
I mean, I'm impressed that you could say that much about it. With how accepted it is already.
Yeah, that
I
was
would
what,
have
like
said
45
I
seconds?
wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't listening to the offers. But as soon as I called, I just hung up. So, you know.
Said no.
Fonte Mac, no matter what.
There you go.
Doesn't he already have a playbook? Is that true?
Oh,
They said something about that, I thought.
No.
I could have swore that he already had a.
They
playbook.
said something about it. Yeah,
That's
I
insane.
remember that.
I knew about the
confirm or
whole. I knew about the whole like wedding gifts thing from
Yeah.
Jaguars fans and stuff, but I didn't hear
Yeah.
about a playbook. That's
Yeah,
It's like
insane.
so cool
I'm
though.
pretty certain that he does. So it's like, if that happens, it's not even a question.
Well, Tyler, there's a reason I gave you pick number 2 here. There's a reason I gave you the Jets. I don't know if you want to throw a wrench into what we've had kind of in pen now for at least a few weeks, but you're on the clock.
All right. So with the second pick in the 2021 NFL draft,
Oh my
the
god.
New York Jets are selecting Zachary Capono Wilson, quarterback, Brigham Young University.
It would have only have been better if you had a Zach Wilson Jets jersey.
Oh, I know. For a little bit premature for that one. It's not a
Coming
slam
soon.
dunk. It's not a slam dunk pick yet, but I feel like this pick has been getting closer and closer to a slam dunk. Not quite on Trevor Lawrence level, but just over the past few weeks, everybody's kind of riding off the Justin Fields to New York and anything. So, and everybody connected to New York feels like Zach Wilson is the pick. And obviously, it's going to be a quarterback no matter what, since they did make the Sam Darnold trade. So, yeah, Zach Wilson is going number 2.
I feel like it's gone from like a legit discussion who's going to be the number 2 pick to it being written in pencil to, like I said, now where it's in pen. And I would be very surprised if Zach Wilson doesn't hear his name at number 2 on Thursday.
That's a real helmet, by the way, from the 1980s.
Are you gonna buy a Zach Wilson Jets jersey?
I'm really thinking about it. If their jerseys maybe looked a little bit better and not like a Pee-wee football team, then maybe I would. That's really my only reservation on it.
That's fair.
Because I don't like the look of their jerseys.
Do you think that they went into that and whoever was making those was like, we want to look as much like an Arena League team as we can?
Honestly, that's what it looks like. But
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's also just very hot take. Zach Wilson will be the best quarterback out of this draft within 5 years.
God,
Whoa.
good Lord.
That's a good thing to
Oh.
start. 2 picks in.
How do you
I
feel
love it.
about Taysom Hill?
Zach Wilson is better than Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
agree
not
with that.
that's not a
for
hot
sure.
take. So I have pick number 3, which I feel like this kind of starts the draft, if you will, because everybody pretty much knows what 1 and 2 are. 3 is where it kind of gets interesting, whether you want to buy the smoke screen or not, of Mac Jones at number 3. If I were the 49ers in this scenario, I am. But in real life, if I were the 49ers, it's Justin Fields here. If I were a 49ers fan, it's Justin Fields here that I would want. However, I don't think it's going to be. And I also don't think it's going to end up being Mac Jones. I'm going to throw a little wrench into this and say they're going in the middle of these 2 routes. Trey Lance is the pick at number 3 for the San Francisco 49ers. Quarterback, North Dakota State.
I feel like that's what it's going to be, truthfully.
Yeah.
And it could be wrong, but it just you get those funny feelings, you know.
Until Mac Jones hears his name at number 3, I'm not believing it.
100%.
And that's exactly the sentiment that Benjamin Albright has been carrying too. You know, he said about half the people he spoke to within the league say that the 49ers are taking Mac Jones, and the other half won't believe it until the pick's actually in and his name pops up across the ticker. I think this is probably one of the bigger smokescreens we've ever seen in recent NFL draft history. That's me personally, but
So how many does anybody in here think that Mac Jones goes number 3?
Mm-mm.
Wow. Okay.
he
I'm not
might.
smoking dick.
So,
I cannot see it
Don't
happening.
know, man.
And if it does, I mean, weirdest like smokescreen, not smokescreen, maybe ever. So either way, we get a big story out of it and a very confusing story. But
like, it's interesting to hear that like people believe if Mac Jones isn't the pick at 3, that he could not be a top 10 pick potentially. And like when you hear that, you're ultimately thinking, okay, the Niners really did this, then moved up all this just for that. And who knows?
right.
It's going to be an interesting 10 minutes when they're on the clock.
What if they just double dip at tight end and take Kyle Pitts?
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Oh
I'm
my
here
gosh.
for it. Do it. Absolutely. Why not?
Okay, Richie, you got the Falcons here. And although that the draft starts at 3, in my opinion, 4 is like the first really interesting spot. Like they have Matt Ryan there, so they don't necessarily need to go quarterback. Also, his contract makes it pretty hard for them to move on right now. Justin Fields would make a ton of sense. Normally, they don't know. Like they expect to compete. When's the next time that Atlanta's to be picked in the top 5? So this is a really good spot for them to get a premier player or their next franchise quarterback. No matter what they do, or trade back. I mean, there's so many routes that they could go. Richie, what do we got here for the Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, nail me head of the hammer. Could not have worded that any better. There is all sorts of directions that the Falcons could go with this pick. It wouldn't be a surprise to see them take a guy like Kyle Pitts, who is a generational talent at the tight end position. This is one of the freakier guys that we've ever seen. We've seen good tight end prospects. We've seen TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant come out in recent years. Years ago, Eric Ebron was a top 10 pick. Even further back, Vernon Davis was the 6th overall pick. This could be the highest a tight end has ever been drafted. But with that being said, like you had mentioned, how many times are you picking in the top 5 and have the opportunity to start grooming a quarterback of the future?
Wow.
So,
Kyle
with
Trask.
that in mind, with the 4th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
You mean he's not
Ooh.
falling to the Steelers?
I thought you were.
Unfortunately,
gonna-
the Ravens are not going to be able to trade up for him.
I thought
That's
you
a
were going to
shame.
leave him on the board for the Ravens.
I was going to offer him. I was going to offer up 9 and a lot more.
A lot more, like 4 first-round picks.
Maybe, yeah, actually.
It might
Just so
take
John
that.
Elway can't take another quarterback.
Richie wanted
Yes,
Richie
actually.
wanted us to give him 4 first-round picks to move down 7 spots with the Steelers.
That's where the conversation starts. That's where it starts.
That seems like a fair trade.
Draft day all over again. Give me all those picks.
I keep having to reset this order because I'm trying to have it the way that we were picking in the first round.
Oh.
But anyway, I like the pick. I'm a huge fan of Justin Fields. He's my quarterback too. Like I said, if assuming that Zach Wilson goes at 2, the Niners should definitely take him at 3. I don't think that they do it. I think he's, their third option there, which is insane to think about. So if he does go to 4, and I don't see Atlanta drafting him necessarily, but I love the fit. When you think about Arthur Smith's offense, the way that Tennessee runs their offense, I think it's a perfect fit for a guy like Justin Fields. So I would love to see it happen. And I would give you an A on that draft pick, Richie. Maybe an A- because of the attire right now. But an A
How fun would it be to just see 4 quarterbacks going the first 4 picks?
That's what I'm saying.
Has that ever happened before?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It might happen.
It very well could happen.
Even
this
if
year, even if it's not Atlanta,
even if it's not. Mm-hmm.
Could definitely see it happen. Okay, Nate. They don't need a quarterback at 5. Since
We're gonna make it 5 in a row. All right.
And it's not Mac Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I gave you Cincinnati last year. You obviously took Joe Burrow, and I figured might as well give you them again this year. Just keep building the team the way that you see fit now that Joe Burrow is in Cincinnati. So you can just take it from there.
I mean, and this last pick actually, in my opinion, has made things a little bit more interesting at the same point.
Yeah.
The Bengals, we all know it. They would love to have Jamar Chase on that team. We all know it.
Mm-hmm.
But the chance to draft a generational tight end for a quarterback at LSU that loved his tight ends and made Randy Moss's son look really, really good, Thaddeus. I forgot his name for a minute there. Anyway, it makes their choice gets really tough. Their choice gets really tough. For me, as we are doing this as a mock draft, as to what we can see the organization go for. In my number one rule of an organization is if you keep that locker room, you have a chance. And for Joe Burrow to be in charge of that locker room, Joe Burrow's pushing 90 to 95% to get his former teammate on that team. And for me, I just don't know how you can say no to him, truthfully. So for me, we're taking Jamar Chase at 5.
Okay.
Wow.
I thought you were going to take Pitts, honestly. I thought you were going to do it.
It was hard. It was
I thought you were going to do
as
it.
weird as this sounds. After that, it was between those two. I really wasn't considering Sewell, except for me, if I'm picking it, obviously I'm making the smart decision after seeing Joe Burrow's scar and picking Sewell. But
Yeah.
I just don't think they care. Well, I mean, they care, but I don't think
they care about the quarterback.
And
that's really
hot
good,
take.
actually.
we'll see. We'll see.
Dude, the way you set that up, it literally sounded like you were taking Pitts.
Yeah, no,
I
it's going to be
thought
angry.
Chase was the third option.
welcome.
I mean, that was
Yeah,
that was
he
like
did
a
a
movie.
great job.
Yeah.
What
a
a job.
movie with a crazy twist.
I got to
Somebody
give you
sign me.
that was a great
Shutter
writer.
Island 2 coming near
great
you.
writer, Nate Williams.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think that's
Right.
Nate. I think you're right. I think that's going to be the pick. I really do. And it could be a smokescreen, but it
It's
sounds
very
like
true.
Well,
Because
I'll
I
tell
could
you
see
what.
a team jumping for Sewell as well, so it could very well be a smokescreen.
Can't wait for a
Um,
second torn ACL.
Yeah. And
Really good spot now for the Dolphins, who moved out of the top 10, came back into the top 10. They obviously wanted to be in position to get a premier player in this draft. And at a need that they have, I think that there's still 2 sitting right there. Obviously didn't expect a guy like Kyle Pitts to be there, but they could also use some help on the offensive line as well. This is an ideal situation for the Dolphins. You can take it away now, Jake.
Yeah, it's ideal. And I think, you could go really the similar route here that you did here as the Bengals did with Burrow and adding familiarity. And I think that's something that Tua Tagovailoa could use for sure. Of course, protection is always interesting to bring up. I mean, you take Austin Jackson last year in the first. How good do you feel about that? You take Robert Hunt, who I think has done very well. You take him in the second round. So I think they've invested a lot in this offensive line to the point where I think I'd be shocked, honestly, if they took Sewell here, even if he's available. And honestly, the familiarity is calling, I think, for Tagovailoa. But we're going Kyle Pitts. I think it's very clear that this is the right pick for the Dolphins. I don't care if there's redundancy with Pitts and someone like Gesicki. I don't care. Honestly, I think Pitts does things at a higher level than Gesicki does. And Pitts can really win in the slot. He can even potentially win outside. I mean, he did it at Florida this last year. And, I think they're going to admire the length and the competitiveness he brings as a blocker as well. I'm not saying he's a finished product or, saying they would start him there at any point in the first season, but I think the developmental traits are there for that. So again, it's so hard not to go Pitts there. And it's such an easy pick for me because of how talented he is.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, he's a tight end. Obviously, they have Gesicki, but listen, so similar. Let's throw it back to last year. When I picked Isaiah Simmons, I just said defense as his position. And that's what I would say about Kyle Pitts on offense. Doesn't matter how you use it.
That's super fair.
The fact that Gesicki is there, that should not change the fact that if Kyle Pitts is there, you should add him to that offense.
Yeah. That's like I think that's the same thing if you were even Atlanta and you're considering Pitts too, because you're like, oh yeah, we traded for Hurst. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Like if you don't go quarterback, I think it's the Atlanta's in that same boat. So I think Miami, I feel like organizationally they've done so well recently, and I know you could bring up maybe Austin Jackson was a reach last year or whatever, I think they've done a really good job, and I think they would do the right thing helping out Tua and bringing in the best offensive player in the draft.
I like it. I got no arguments on this side. I mean, if Kyle Pitts falls out of the top 5, I'll be a little bit surprised. I could see it happening. I definitely think that there's a situation as we see right here, whether it's Atlanta at 4, somebody else moving up, and then Cincinnati decides to reunite Burrow with his college teammate in Chase. Where it happens, I would just be a little bit surprised by it. Moving on to Detroit at number 7. I think we go back to Tyler here for the pick.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is not what I was expecting to have Sewell still there. But I'm not going to change my pick. And I'm sticking with offense, though. And they traded for Kyle Goff, but they also lost Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones Jr. And so looking at their depth chart, they have Tyrell Williams and Brashard Perryman as their top 2 wide receivers. Not really much going on there. So the Detroit Lions will be taking Jalen Waddle from Alabama with the 7th pick. I listen, I like both Alabama guys, but if you're asking me to pick one, I think Waddle is my wide receiver too. And so I'm taking him over the Heisman winner.
I think it has to be, even if you weren't expecting Sewell to be there, like I said, and it sucks that they're kind of in that position. It kind of comes down to, do you take the best player on the board or do you take a need? And I think that need kind of needs to play in that for Detroit just because they're in such a terrible situation when it comes to their wide receiver room. And it's not like Waddle's not a premier player himself. So I think that kind of has to be the pick should the board look like this at number 7.
Yeah, exactly. And just looking at their wide receivers, you need help anywhere. Because, losing Kenny Golladay, I know a lot of people
and
probably
Marvin Jones.
Mixed it. Yeah, and Marvin Jones. But just Kenny Golladay specifically, he was like their wide receiver 1, and I know probably a lot of people have mixed opinions on him, but I feel like that's going to be a pretty big loss for the Lions.
I think I like Kenny Golladay a lot. It's just, health. Can he stay on the field? I'm surprised he got paid like he did by New York, but somebody was going to throw money at him, I guess, on the open market.
Yeah. This is the point where I think Donnie and the LA Chargers would be calling.
Well,
because
Donnie's connection isn't going to let him make that call.
He doesn't have enough bandwidth to put the
and
call
Smitty's
in.
Panthers at this point, they're like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't
This
think
is
so.
Perfect. This is perfect.
He would have had to move up with Tyler and the Lions.
Yeah, number 8's not moving at this spot. Not only is it a need, but he's, in my opinion, like the clear. I was, banking on potentially taking Rashawn Slater at this spot. And then you see Penei Sewell fall to here, and it's not even a question. I really don't need to have much discussion about this. Cornerback could potentially have been interesting had they not brought in AJ Boye. I think that he helps them a little bit in that area. At least it doesn't make it like an incredibly pressing need for them. They can wait a little bit on that. So Penei Sewell's the pick here at number 8 to the Panthers. And he's a top 3 player in this class. I don't think that he's, even reached close to what his ceiling is. I think he's going to just be a fantastic football player and get better as time goes on. So I'm really excited that he fell number 8 here for the Panthers.
It's hard not to be excited at that point. Yeah, this is all. If this happens and Sewell is a Panther, it's all coming together for Darnold to make the leap that a lot of people still think he can do. So Panthers potentially the most interesting team in the NFL if they make this Sewell. If Sewell picks there, if the Sewell is pick.
That division, if he does make that leap, is crazy fun for what it's worth. Not for me. It'll make my heart stop like 8 times a year. But it'll be a lot of fun. And I would love actually to see this happen. I know that's kind of weird, like to say, I want to see this guy drop. But if he's going to go somewhere, that's a place I would be pretty cool with.
I even with the loss of Curtis Samuel, like you look at what they have in Carolina with Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. I like Matt Rule a lot. I like how he gets down in Mobile, Alabama for sure as well. So I really like what they're building there in Carolina, and this would be a perfect fit. You almost wonder, like, if they start to see him fall, could they even potentially move up a little bit and not see it does fall? So
for sure.
I don't know. Things could get interesting. We got the Broncos on the clock here, pick number 9, and that is Jake, I believe.
It is me.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think when you're looking here, and I think you have to believe if the Broncos are not sold on Drew Lock, they're making a move up. if possible. I don't know if they're going to. Then again, John Elway, you never know with him and quarterbacks. Maybe Mac Jones is his guy at 9. I just don't think so. So this is not going to be Mac Jones. So it will get interesting after that to see where he falls. I will say it's not Jones. Truthfully, there's a couple directions. I think, though, obviously, you've brought Kyle Fuller in at corner, and you have a room that you should feel confident in. They have a lot of pieces there. I know they brought Darby in. They have Bryce Callahan. Michael Ohemoody had a pretty solid year as a rookie, late round pick. So I don't think Fangio, even though if he has like his guy at corner and he's very particular about it, that he would, pound the table necessarily. I don't love this because obviously off the field is certainly a question with him.
Whoa.
And,
yes.
That's something that if I'm trusting him to go anywhere, it's definitely to a more defensive minded head coach more than an offensive minded head coach. Cause I think he is somebody who gets extremely involved. Fangio will. So we're going Micah Parsons here for the Broncos at 9. The talent's undeniable. The traits are undeniable. The athleticism is probably not of this planet. So yeah, I think it really puts them in a corner here. I think with how the board fell. So I think this is the pick for them.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty popular, honestly, mock that I've seen. Like, if there's going to be a team in the top half of this first round that takes a chance on him, it's probably Denver. Yeah. Otherwise, you could see him start to slip a little bit.
I would agree.
So this is, in my opinion, an ideal landing spot. He can do so many things for that defense, and he just seems like Vic Fangio would love to have a football player like that. You figure the rest out. So yeah. I'm on board with this. The only thing that I would say, the only thing that I could see potentially happening, you already alluded to it, like if they can get one of those top 4 quarterbacks, they probably do move on from Drew Lock. Otherwise, just ride it out with him for at least one more year.
Yeah, I would think so. And obviously, you never know with next year's draft and everything. I think right now everybody seems very low across the board consensus-wise in comparison to this year. But yeah, there's always going to be guys. And I think, Denver gang back together, you feel good about Garrett Bowles and his development, which I think a lot of people are very uncertain after a couple seasons. Now you're going to have Sutton, Judy, Fant. Hopefully the gang's all back together. And they had a really weird season, obviously, last year, having to start, almost a wide receiver at quarterback for a game. So I think, you get the core back together on offense and you have a defense now with Parsons. It's interesting for sure.
Not that I'm like a huge fan of Drew Lock. Like, I mean, the jury's still out on him, but he also like Cortland Sutton tore his ACL against us. Like, what was that, week 2 or 3? I mean,
it was early. Yeah.
So didn't have his wide receiver 1 for most of that year. I don't think that Jerry Jeudy had exactly the rookie year that a lot of people were expecting, and you put a lot of that on Lock as well. So it's a mixed bag. I think that they would be wise to ride it out at least one more year with him, though.
Yeah, I agree.
So this puts the Cowboys on the clock, though. America's second team, anyway, which would be Richie Bradshaw selecting at this pick for the Cowboys. You might as well you can just. This has been a pick that's. I don't think anybody's shied away from this one particular player going to Dallas. We'll see if you go a different direction, though.
No, this is one of those picks that you can't overthink it. Just like last year when you saw CeeDee Lamb fell down the board to the Dallas Cowboys and they snatched him up, they knew that he was the best player available, regardless of the fact that they already had a very strong wide receiver room. Now, on the flip side here, with the pick that I'm going to make, this is a need. And it just so happens to be the best player available at this point in time. The Dallas Cowboys need help defensively all over the place. Their linebackers are big names who are just incapable of playing at a high enough level to justify the draft position and the money that they're paying for them. Their pass rush needs a lot of improvements. I love the potential of some of the guys they have there, like Bradley and I was somebody that we were very excited when the Cowboys snuck in and grabbed him last year in the draft. And then on the back end of the defense is where they're going to need the most help, and that's where they're going to go here. Now, while it's very tempting to go in a different direction than the boring pick, I guess is the way you could word it, the boring pick is what's going to happen, and it's the smart move. So with the 10th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Patrick Surtain II, cornerback from Alabama.
Yeah, I think that has to be the pick. And you mentioned they obviously still need help at corner, but like their 2020 draft, there were very few teams that had better draft classes, in my opinion. I mean, you get CeeDee Lamb in the first, Trevon Diggs, who is the only other corner that's really there, so they're looking for the guy to line up opposite of him. Neville Gallimore in the third round was one of the better values in that draft, in my opinion. Tyler Biadasz, and then you all obviously brought up Bradley and I already. Like, they had a very good draft last year, and just to continue to build off that, I think that this is a slam dunk pick. It's been one that like just seems too obvious, so it's probably going to end up not happening, but it absolutely should.
I'll tell you this: I was very, very tempted to take Jalen Phillips at this pick.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Slater, but I mean, with a little bit of an aging offensive line. But
oh man, Cowboys Twitter loves when you mock Slater to them.
Yeah.
No.
I know.
No.
No. There's a couple Cowboys fans that I follow. So
oh man, it's like almost like giving them a punter. It seems like I don't get it. Like, oh yeah, we don't want this good player
that can play at literally every spot on the offensive line.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. I get it. I mean, they definitely need a corner. So,
yeah.
Okay, the Giants have pick number 11. I believe, is that Tyler? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about going a couple different ways with this pick, and both the ways I was thinking were on offense. And those two ways were tackle and wide receiver. And I think strictly because I feel like not necessarily what I would do, but what I think the Giants will do is go wide receiver. And so they're going to take Devontae Smith at number 11. I think they're going to try to get as many weapons for Daniel Jones as possible. And, I mean, they got Kenny Golladay in free agency, but after that, I mean, Sterling Shepard, John Ross, I mean, I don't love their wide receiver room. It's not the worst in the league by any means, but it could get much improved, and I think Devontae Smith helps that.
Are you saying they don't have enough defensive tackles and they won't select Barmore?
You know, I saw. I was like, when I was looking at positional needs for the Giants, people were saying. I saw people say defensive tackle. I'm like, why?
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, I read an article saying defensive tackle. I'm like, why?
Oh no! Oh no! That already tells you the draft needs to get here. I mean,
we brought up Kenny Golladay earlier, so yeah, they got him there now. Sterling Shepard. Darius Slayton, like, yeah, man, one more guy like that's if Daniel Jones doesn't succeed with that, you have your answer.
Yeah, and I think they've tried to improve upon their offensive line last year as well, and I think they're going to stick with that faith a little bit, at least for a little while, and just try to improve the weapons for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I think that they brought back Nate Solder for some reason, right? So, I mean, there you go. I don't know what the plan is there, but hey, everybody's saying they feel like it's a deep enough O-line class to not go O-line in first round. So I guess the Giants.
I've taken both Alabama wide receivers, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Roll Tide.
True.
Nice.
Very true. Nate, you got the Eagles here at 12.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting board, in my opinion, for you, because they would have loved for one of those three wide receivers to fall. Didn't happen.
They would have. Yeah, they definitely would have. And I actually I noticed, or if you noticed, I was looking down. I'm kind of I'm reeling from that last one, just trying to come up with my secondary. But I had a secondary, I also had a tertiary, which makes this really tough. It's kind of a toss-up because these guys are guys that I rate fairly similarly, but there's one that I feel like would fit a little bit better and do a lot more for this team in terms of first need versus second need. Both of these positions are in need, but I think this one will be addressed earlier. Like you said, they would have loved to have one of those three wide receivers. They're going to get the fourth one in my book, though. They're going to take Rashad Bateman from Minnesota.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And a guy that you can't poke too many holes in his game. I mean, you can, but it's nice. Junior year production wasn't that great, but sophomore year showed exactly what he could be. And what he could be is a game changer for the Eagles, who desperately need a wide receiver. My other option was a corner, of course. You have to consider the corner for that team as well. And if for some reason Pitts were to fall to where they would have been interested in trading up, I could see them doing that as well. We know they like their tight ends. So.
I thought Well, before we talk about that pick, I thought one of the guys you were considering here was Jeremiah Wosu-Koromoa, just because of everything that he could do for that defense. But
Yeah.
As far as Bateman goes, I mean, people are probably going to consider this a reach, and with the Eagles' drafting of wide receivers, you know, it's not going to look great on draft night for them, I don't think, when it comes to how the social media community is going to treat this pick. Also, you look at those teams, man, like in the late teens and then the 20s, they are going to be absolutely pissed about this pick with Rashad Bateman not being on the board for those teams looking for a wide receiver in those spots.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I feel like he's just going to be an absolute weapon at the next level. I'm really excited for him.
I love Bateman, but
Really
yeah, I mean, I know on draft night how social media will react to this.
They're not going to be happy, and that's okay. As long as they're happy in the long run, that's what matters.
You ruined my master plan.
I want to know the master plan now.
I was taking Bateman at 18. No questions asked.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah,
Well, I was taking Parsons at 14, so I don't want to hear it, Jake.
Things don't always work
fine.
out. See, that's what makes this so interesting without us not knowing each other's picks.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
I thought for sure.
Yep.
Man.
Donnie, you are finally back on the board here, my man. I didn't realize how many picks that we had in between you picking again. I don't know how that worked out like that, but anyway, you are on the clock here with the Chargers.
No worries. That gives me a lot of time.
That's true. That's true. Exciting team. Justin Herbert, they found their franchise quarterback. Would think they got to start worrying about protecting him, or they could go defense. I don't know. Let's see what direction Donnie takes with the Los Angeles Chargers here.
Yeah, and in case you guys haven't noticed, I've been bouncing in and out. My Wi-Fi is just not wanting to cooperate with me today. I just want to double clarify before I make an ass out of myself. The top three players available on my board right now are Rashawn Slater, Mac Jones, and J.C. Horn.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
I would agree with that.
Okay, phenomenal. So as the Chargers GM, I absolutely love the spot I'm in. I think one of the bigger priorities moving forward, now that what everybody believes to be a franchise quarterback, is get that young man some protection. You saw what happened to Joe Burrow last year. You don't want that happening on a consistent annual basis. I thought maybe would have gone a little bit. Slater ranked above Sewell. A lot of people think that Sewell will be the second offensive tackle taken. But here in this draft, I think offensive tackle was a big priority for the Chargers. It's and Slater for me at this point, but with Slater and just how phenomenal that young man has looked in college football, I can't really pass up on him. So with the 13th overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle.
I think, I wouldn't be surprised if this pick ends up being like Christian Darrisaw as the third tackle, with both those guys being off the board. So Rashawn Slater falling here.
See, that's who I had. Was there?
Yeah. For sure. So
it's funny our friend Ryan put "Fire Donnie" in the comments.
I didn't even see that. Ryan Platt, Parlay Platt, I should say. That's his Twitter name now. No, but I think that's a slam dunk pick for them. Like we said, the priority for this team has become protecting Justin Herbert. They've started to address that in free agency. Lindsley's a great addition for them, as long as Matt Filer is staying at guard and not trying to use him as – I'm sorry. Do you think they'll use him as a guard or tackle, actually, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it? Are they going to use him as a right tackle, or are they going to kick him inside at guard like the Steelers did last year? Because he was better at right tackle, but I don't know what the plan is there. Anybody?
Oh, I mean, Balaga right tackle probably is the way they're going to go.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume.
They have Balaga, and then if they go with Slater here, I guess Filer would be playing guard. He was not – I mean, maybe Filer just fits better there, but he was not good at guard last year. So
it's hard to know. It's the Chargers, though, so they're probably
that's true.
Tight end? Gonna put him at tight end. Yeah, that's the move. Yeah.
No, they got 6'8" wiry man Donald Parham at tight end.
T-Rex legs.
Yeah.
We don't have Tyler Fornes on this podcast to pick for the Vikings here, so we had to make sure that Tyler was picking for the Vikings.
Okay.
So do not
respect
do this pick wrong because we know somebody will be coming after you.
Listen, I might do it wrong. I don't know much about the Vikings, at least compared to him. So, based off what they could do, maybe I'm wrong. But I was in a good spot before this with Rashawn Slater and Christian Darrisaw still on the board. And no matter which one Donnie took, I was going to take the other one. So, with the 14th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Vikings are selecting Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech, offensive tackle. They lost Riley Reif in free agency, and I think they are going to look to replace that in this draft. Now, maybe it doesn't come as early on Thursday night or throughout this draft, but I'm taking what is, I think, clearly the third best tackle in this draft. I think there's a little bit of a step after the top three, so that's what I'm taking.
As a tackle, I actually like him a little bit more than Slater. I just think Slater offers more versatility. But if you're talking about both of them ended up playing left tackle, I like Darrisaw a little bit more than Slater. So I love this pick. I think that this is a spot, though, where you could definitely see the first edge go off the board. A lot of questions surrounding Danielle Hunter's health, obviously coming back off not playing last year. And they would need a guy on the other side of him regardless. So I think this is a spot where you could see edge. But if it's not edge, tackle makes a ton of sense. The value is great there with Darrisaw.
Edge is one of the positions that I was looking at, honestly.
Yeah.
There's one of the positions I wrote down. But whenever I just compared it, taking Darrisaw versus taking someone like Kwity Paye, at the position themselves, I think Darrisaw is the better prospect at his position. So that's why I'd rather go with him.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you're not going to get an argument from me on it. I'd like to just skip this pick, honestly, but I guess we have to make it. Nate, you're picking for the Pats here at 15.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is a quarterback still on the board.
There is a quarterback on the board. Kyle Trask. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just going to keep that joke the entire night. It's going to get really old.
Until he
It's not
selects
gonna be
him
a
with the
quarterback.
Saints pick.
Yeah, fair point. It's not going to be a quarterback for me, actually, guys. And due to the board falling the way it did, we're going to fill the secondary need, in my opinion, behind quarterback for the Patriots, because I do believe that Belichick probably doesn't want Mac Jones on his team. So one guy that I would love to fall past them or to just be ignored by them or to get selected higher is J.C. Horn. But J.C. Horn is going to go to the Patriots.
I knew I should have skipped him.
Yeah, we probably should have skipped him. He's just a guy that I think he is the best. Yeah, I'm going to say it. He's the press man cornerback of this class. I mean, 8 catches from 24 targets last season. He's a game changer in the cornerback and position. And this is a great pick for them. It's a horrible pick for the rest of the NFL.
I love him. I mean, he's my favorite corner in this class.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have no issue at all should they go that pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of JC Horn.
I want him on the Saints so bad.
People were talking about this being a reach, like even with like Caleb Farley was considered like a top 15 player in this class, and it's like, man, for me, like the floor for JC Horn would be 16 at Arizona in the very next pick. Obviously, with Patrick Peterson not being there anymore, so I think it's a good spot for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of that 16th pick in the Arizona Cardinals, we might as well go out to Arizona for this pick if they can make the pick for us. Donnie, you got the Cardinals here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, if I'm the Cardinals GM right now, I'm not loving how the board has played out to me so far. I mean, I was really hoping for one of the top wide receivers to slip. I was really hoping for either Tan or Horn to fall to me at 16. Signed not Harris, which really isn't in the picture, at least at number 16. I would really look into trading back right here. However, I think, with Horn off board, got to stick with the cornerback position. I mean, I think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah would be a phenomenal player here. I'm just nervous how value a future without Patrick Peterson and no really young boundary guys. They took Byron Murphy last year, but even people are iffy on him. Playing in or outside doesn't really matter. I know a lot of people are concerned about Farley's back history and, the injuries that have ensued with that. Apparently, according to his last physical rounds, that they've made, his looks to be good by start of next year. And when Farley's on the field, he's a dog. You can make an argument exactly like you said before that he was a top 15 player before those back concerns came along. So, without further ado, with the 16th overall pick, 2021 NFL draft, the Arizona.
Oh no!
Oh,
that was all leading me to believe it was Caleb Farley. Was it Caleb Farley?
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear everything that happened.
Literally, it went up to
it's unbelievable
with the 16th pick and then the 2021 NFL draft, and then it just cut out.
That was awesome.
Dude, my internet is not working with me. I'm so sorry, man.
That suspense was
it was really funny.
That was so worth it.
I was waiting for the end to be like, so for that, we're going to take Greg Newsome at 16. Mm-hmm. But listen, I like the pick. I mean, it's a little bit of a gamble for them because of what you said with the back concerns. But it's very likely that they go corner here with the way that the board has fallen, at least. I mean, it would be him or Newsome. I guess it's just, the preference there. They're willing to take that shot. I like him as a player. I just hope everything checks out. I have the next pick. I'm the Raiders here at 17. And I will tell you what, I don't need much time for this. So I look at what the Raiders need, right? And they need a safety potentially. They could also use a corner. Linebacker, I think, had Micah Parsons fallen, this would be a spot for him potentially too. For that reason, with everything I said that they need, might as well just get it all in one player. So I'm taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. I feel like he can do a little bit of everything and just seems like a Gruden guy, man, going back to last year when I reached, even in our mock draft, to take the other corner at Ohio State, Damon Arnett. It ended up happening on draft night. So this just feels like another Gruden pick to me. So I'm going with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah here out of Notre Dame.
I'm just saying, if you get it right, you have to tell the world you are actually a Raiders insider.
No doubt. You have to change loyalty 100%.
You have to put Raiders insider in your bio.
Or at least you have to ask Gruden for a job because you're obviously in his head. So you at least have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's him or Mayock, combination of the two, but it just, there's certain guys, man, that just, you look at the draft class, it's like, this guy just seems like a Raider if the board falls this way. And JOK is one of those guys. So I think that this is a good spot for him here. Like I said, they need all three of those things. He can do a little bit of everything for that defense. Moving on, this is the Dolphins' second pick here, Jake. So take it away.
Yeah, well, Rashad Bateman was the target for sure here at 18. Thought there was no chance that wouldn't happen, but Nate, of course, had to go ruin the master plan. So yeah, I think offense obviously still in play here for the Dolphins. I think there's a real chance that they treat this as a luxury pick and feel confident selecting somebody like Najee Harris. But we're not going to do that, and we're going to get really interesting. We're not taking Kwity Paye. We're taking Jalen Phillips here at 18. The medical history is concerning, for sure. There's no doubt about it. However, this Dolphins team, I think, is equipped and they have enough capital to swing for the fence here and hope that Phillips hits a ceiling that is very high. And you could probably say that he had, I think, the best film of anyone in 2020 on the edge. And I think he has potentially the highest upside of anybody in this class. And I mean, the athleticism's off the charts, has a variety of ways he can get to the quarterback, put him on that defense, and let him get after it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Doesn't even have to go very far either. So
Yeah, so for the Raiders, if I wasn't going with like that do-it-all gadget guy for the defense, I probably would have gone edge. They have Cleveland Farrell there. They have Max Crosby. Cleveland Farrell has not obviously played up to that number 4 overall selection, and we had a feeling, I feel like everybody did, that would happen when they reached on him on that draft night. So they could definitely use some edge help, and I was thinking Jalen Phillips, honestly. Like, I know that on most, rankings, when you look at edge, he's not at the top of that list. Like Azeez Ojulari, Kwity Paye, those guys could potentially go before him. But man, if everything clicks for Jalen Phillips, he could very well be edge number 1 of this class. And for a team that just constantly recouping draft capital the way that the Dolphins have, just a plethora of picks, it seems like they would be one of the teams that could take that chance. So
I think there's more steam now, at least in our community of sorts, that has Phillips higher, that has him, at the top of the rankings on the edge.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, I'm looking at
more so than NFL teams probably will, just based on the medical history. But I think in a class that's really on the edge, at least built for day 2 for the most part, I think it'll be interesting to see who swings first. And like we said, the Dolphins with that extra pick in the first have the option to do so if they so desire.
Yeah.
And as GM, I desire. So
there you go. I believe, I'm on the clock here for Washington. This is an interesting spot. There's only 2 players that I'm considering here with the way that the board fell.
Don't do it.
I think that the slide stops. I don't love this fit necessarily in Scott Turner's offense, but Mac Jones is going to be the pick here at 19. In an ideal scenario, or not ideal, but a realistic scenario, I don't think that Mac Jones even gets this far. And if Chicago's sitting at 20, they probably would like to get ahead of Washington. But if he falls to Washington, they don't have to move at all to get up. Like, they don't have to trade any extra capital to move up to get a quarterback. I think that they take Mac Jones should the board fall like this. So not what I would do, but hey, there it is. 19th overall, Mac Jones is the selection.
Hey, I mean, that means he's not going to be a Steeler.
Very true. Very true. If I think that he would go again, I don't see any scenario, honestly, where he gets out of 20. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Do you think the Pats think about taking him?
I don't think that they like him, to be honest with you. And maybe that's, we thought about smoke screens, but I don't get the sense that Belichick is that enamored with him. It's like, I think that they'll just ride it out this year with what they have and maybe take somebody next year. I don't know. I could be way off base, and Mac Jones could be a Patriot on draft night, and then I could go back and clip this and look like an idiot. But I just get the sense he's not a Bill Belichick guy.
It just wouldn't seem like a Patriots move to me. It's just not. It doesn't seem right for some reason. It doesn't fit.
I'll say this, and I don't want to say this. I give it a better chance that they move up and grab one of the top 4 and take.
Yeah, agreed.
That really concerns me because I don't want 20 more years of this. I really do actually fear that if the Niners take Jones at 3, that Lance or Fields, the Patriots are eyeing, and they will move up with Detroit.
Hey, I thought you were
on the phone.
They're going to call up the Falcons. Hey, we beat you 28 when you were leading 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
What do we have to offer you for that number 4 pick?
Yeah, right.
And then they're going to say, since you said that, you owe us an extra first. But no, man,
so possible, and it's very concerning.
Yeah, that's what
it's really concerning. I don't like the idea.
I know.
I don't expect any scenario where Mac Jones is a Patriot, but part of me thinks if one of those 2, either one, Fields or Lance, start to slide down, the Patriots are going to be very aggressive.
There's definitely some buzz too. And this is hearsay for sure, like absolutely hearsay. Mostly in the Saints community, that they would love to come up, and the ideal trade partner for them is probably Detroit because of the connections between the 2 coaching staffs now.
Oh yeah, what a long move. That's Julio Jones, Atlanta with the Browns type of move. We haven't seen in.
I still believe that the Saints.
21 spots.
The Saints believe they are in win now mode even now. So it would not surprise me future picks do not matter to them because they'll probably get taken away for some type of violation anyway. So
Taysom
Listen.
Hill QB1.
yeah.
Listen,
Taysom Hill is too good. We're taking away.
If there was a Sonny Weaver Jr. in this draft to give up the farm, wouldn't shock me if it was New Orleans.
I want all my picks back, and I want David Putney.
Just because I feel like it.
You pancake eating.
Oh.
No, I do think I think that they should be very aggressive. The Patriots. I also think the team on the clock right now, at number 20, the Bears, could be very aggressive. However, in this scenario, they stick at 20. Richie, you're picking for the Bears. What do we got here?
Yeah, I won't lie to you. There was a few different times where I wish that I could have traded up ahead of Washington because I had that fear that you guys would snag Mac Jones. Who? But they do have Andy Dalton. They do have Nick Foles. They're stopgap solutions for a very solid roster that does have some holes. And the best thing that they can do right now is continue to put the foundation in place for a quarterback of the future that maybe they're looking at the 2022 draft class. So they need a wide receiver. They could use more offensive line help. There's all sorts of directions that they could go here. It's not my favorite pick in the whole world, but it's the smart pick. So with the 20th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle, Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Far from sexy, but it's smart.
You know, I just wanted to say that I imagine hearing the reasoning it's okay we're not going to take a quarterback is because we have Andy Dalton and Nick Foles.
I mean, I love it, so I'm okay with that.
Hey,
Well, maybe they take
it's
Chris
just funny
Sims.
to actually hear.
Maybe they take Chris Sims as quarterback one, Kellen Mond with that pick.
True.
You never know.
Well, you know what? For Washington, before taking Mac Jones, I said I had two players that I was thinking of. One besides Mac Jones, the other would have been Elijah Vera Tucker. I've heard him linked to Washington quite a bit. But it's you look at Washington's situation pretty similar to Chicago's, where it's like a pretty good roster. What are they going to get from their quarterback? Washington obviously has Ryan Fitzpatrick there right now. Chicago, you mentioned Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, probably going to be Andy Dalton, I would assume. I mean, they paid him $10 million. They put up a picture with him saying QB1, so that seals it. But no, this is an interesting pick. I mean, I'll ask you guys this: do you think that he plays left tackle, or is he just going to be a right tackle in this league?
It's hard to say.
Oof.
I don't know. I think with guys like him, I think the transition might be tougher. It's just so hard to say because if you move over to left tackle, Jenkins, his pass sets, he does a good job staying short when they're short pass sets, but like the more where you're gonna have to carry these bendier guys who could win with speed, I think he's still got to work on that even at right tackle. So I don't know how confident you are moving him over. Maybe some team is. Again, I could be totally wrong with that for sure. Because, I mean, guys transition and guys don't. Like, I think I mentioned this somewhere recently. It was like David Bakhtiari says he could never do it. He could never switch to right. And, like,
It's interesting.
So, yeah, I know that the Browns obviously moved over Wills.
Yeah.
After they selected him, I think that eventually the Bucks will probably move Wirfs over.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? It's hard to say. I'm
Yeah,
surprised they don't
with
have
you
more
though.
answers for this. Like when they ask these guys, "Do you want to switch?" We never hear the Nuggets about those questions.
Right. I think with Tevin Jenkins, like we know what he is as a run blocker. He's nasty. Like there's no question that he's going to be an asset in this league. It's just like how high is his ceiling? Like, is he going to be able to play that premier left tackle spot on the offensive line? And that's why, like, people mocking him to the Steelers and stuff at 24. I'm like, unless he's going to play left tackle, I'm not even that interested in him because I don't think that we have a legit left tackle like Banner, Chukwuefor. Like they are what they are. I don't think either one's a left tackle. So we just have a bunch of guys that can play right tackle or guard and not left tackle. So, and I think Tevin Jenkins, at least for year one, would fall into that category as well. Like I don't see him stepping in right away and playing left tackle. So, but Jake, one of the teams that you are very interested in picking for the Indianapolis Colts for all your Colts coverage, is on the clock here with 21.
Yeah, it'd be really easy to plug in Sam Cosby here since he's been like very much a consensus selection in mock drafts for the Colts, and I think they are clearly interested in addressing the left tackle position. And how could you not when Sam Tevy and Julian Davenport are your only left tackles on the roster?
Yeah.
The one scenario I could see which would be really interesting here would be taking Elijah Vera Tucker and playing Nelson or Tucker at left tackle if you feel comfortable with either of them doing so. Obviously, Nelson has played left tackle at times last season, and it's really calling my name now. I'm about to talk myself into doing it.
Really
I wasn't doing it.
Could see your face changing as you talk. You were like,
I know, right?
Wait.
The excitement of having Elijah Vera Tucker in Indy. Oh gosh. Oh man, but I think, man. All right.
Now I'm curious what the other.
Oh, okay,
I know.
yeah. So the other, okay, I'll say this. I probably would not lean Cosme. It's going to be Elijah Vera Tucker for me, or it's Kwity Paye. I think it's one of the two. I think you either are looking to get better on the offensive line, feel more comfortable with Carson Wentz there, or you're getting a position that has been just for the most part disastrous the past few seasons. And like Ben Banogu and Kimoko Toure, you're hoping that they eventually turn into something. But I think it might be time to swing here. But then again, you know what? It's my pick, Elijah Vera Tucker. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're going Elijah Vera Tucker at 21. Let's play Quentin at left tackle.
Yeah, that's another guy that I'm like sitting there like, is he going to play left tackle in the league? And that's, kind of what determines how valuable this guy is. I really like him as a guard. Obviously, I think he's going to be a really good guard should that be where he plays. But I think there's a lot of questions about, if you have to line him up at left tackle, how well he'd do out there. So,
I mean, he looked good against Kayvon Thibodeau for the most part in that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think there will be longer players in the NFL who could make it difficult for him.
So who's playing left tackle in this scenario for the Colts?
Nelson. Going to move Nelson out there full time. We're paying him enough.
Interesting. Yeah.
Should be played left tackle. Let's do
they
it.
no longer spent a 6th round pick on a guard. Or 6th overall pick on a guard. Now
he's actually a tackle now.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to go back and change it. Rewrite history. That's what we're doing.
So Tennessee's here, and I like the way that this fell for them with, some teams that could have gone corner, not necessarily their most pressing need, but like the Raiders, Dolphins, Washington, but like every team from the last corner that was taken to us had the opportunity to take corner. They didn't. Greg Newsom's the pick here for me for the Titans. Obviously no Malcolm Butler, no Adoree Jackson there anymore either. It's a pressing need for them. If Rashad Bateman was here, that would have been another interesting spot, obviously, with Corey Davis going to the Jets. But Greg Newsom's the pick for me here. I think this is a really good pick. Obviously, with all of Caleb Farley's medical stuff, he has the case for cornerback 3. I think this is a slam dunk for Tennessee, and I think they'd love it if the board fell this way. Although they might like to also have the option of Rashad Bateman. Maybe have both on the board, but
That's true.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Newsom? Do you guys have him as 3 or 4? Do you guys like Farley more? As long as the medicals check out, or what?
I think it depends. Truthfully, I think if you're in more of a like get up in your face man scheme, then it's Farley for sure. If you like more off coverage, I think you may have Newsom higher on your board as an NFL team. I think it's certainly possible.
I just want to go on record and saying that he played at Northwestern, so I don't really like him no matter what. And that's my comment. That's all.
That's fair enough.
No, I think Jake pretty much said it correctly. Outstanding physical attributes, obviously. Got a great pro day. And it would be a good pick. I actually was kind of hoping he'd be around for the Saints later in the round, but I don't see that as being too likely either, but it could happen. We'll see.
I mean, because of the medicals, Farley might.
Yeah, that's true
possible.
As well. Yeah.
Okay, so we go to pick 23. I mean, Tyler, you could throw a whole lot of complications Donnie's way.
Listen, first off, I just want to say, screw Jake only because he stole 2 of my picks. He stole Micah Parsons because I was going to take him at 14, and then he stole Elijah Vera Tucker, and I was going to take him at 23 for the Jets.
You were thinking Vera Tucker at 23 to the Jets.
Yeah, because I was thinking you try him out at right tackle across from Mekhi Becton, and it worst comes to worst, you slide him into guard if it doesn't work out.
We love it.
And I was going to say, you just took a quarterback round 1. You might as well get more protection for him right now.
Yeah. And they have the 2 first and then a very early second. Like they are another team that can afford to take some swings.
Yeah, and now it comes down to, do I want to take Samuel Cosmi or Najee Harris?
You should have talked me into pay. That's what you should have done.
You talked yourself into Elijah Vera Tucker.
I know, that's what I was saying. And you had to
your
back
pick.
me up in that part. You had to be like, no, listen. Pass rush sucks, right? Like
all right. Man, this is tough because I wasn't expecting to make this pick.
Yeah.
What do I want to do? The real question is not what do I want for the Jets. What do I want to do to Donnie?
So
true.
You know what?
You look cute today. Anybody tell you that?
Just because I have both of the Jets picks and I'm their GM right now, and I happen to be a BYU fan, I'm protecting my quarterback and I'm taking Samuel Cosmi to play right tackle.
Smart pick. Again,
Yeah.
I think that there's probably going to be Jets fans that are like, what are we doing here? We took a tackle in the first round last year. Le'Veon Bell's not here anymore. We don't have a running back. The top 2 running backs are still sitting right there.
Listen, there's plenty of tackles throughout the draft, at least the first few rounds that you could take. There's also plenty of running backs that you could take within the first 3 to 4 rounds that could play and be better than most of the guys on their roster right now. So I think either way, it's not a bad pick. And I get it's not the sexy pick, but protecting your quarterback is always sexy.
Anytime that you have the chance to add a 23-year-old running back to a team that's not going to compete, you have to do it.
Yes.
Well, they didn't this time. They're protecting their shiny new quarterback.
Yep.
All right. Well, Donnie, 24 Pittsburgh Steelers. This is what the people are here for. Let's put on a show.
Take a linebacker.
Yeah, let's.
Hey, I mean, if Michael Parsons is 24, why not?
Jarvis Jones.
Oh man! Yikes! Big yikes.
Oh no!
Oh man! So I do want to go through the due diligence process here. Earlier in the offseason, Kevin Colbert, the Steelers general manager, came out and said that they were going to adjust the running back position and the NFL draft. Reports came out a little bit later. I believe it was Jerry Dulac, going to target a running back either round 1 or round 2. Me personally speaking, I don't think running backs should be drafted. I think they're off, take a positional need of higher importance, and then just grabbing a running back later on. The only problem with that is if you take an offensive lineman here, you are really, really hoping a guy like Javonte Williams is there whenever you're picking around pick number 50 in the second round. I'm just not sure that happens. You can make an argument that Michael Carter might be a good fit. You can make an argument that Trey Sermon might be a good fit. But the Steelers appear very, very committed to fixing running right here, right now. Like you guys already said a little bit earlier, it's a heavy offensive tackle draft. There's 2 centers they could potentially get in the second round as well. So without further ado, with the 24th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Najee Harris, running back, Alabama.
Oh, and I'm gonna be weeping.
You'll love to see it.
I won't. Smitty and I have said on our show multiple times, we won't mind the pick if that's the actual pick. Like we get it, but that's just not the way that we would go. It also depends on the board. I mean, if I have I've said all day, if I have my ideal, I'm taking a tackle. But the way this board fell, I'm not taking a tackle.
Donnie, I'm sending a storm your way as we speak.
Oh my gosh.
Same. When offensive line, their first 2 rounds, I would be doing back.
All right.
Let me ask. Wait, I just want to ask while we have all these guys here because we've debated it on our show with a couple people. Would you take Travis Etienne or Javonte Williams at running back too? Because I've seen arguments either way.
Once again, I think it depends on what you're running.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams is power football, man. He is power football. Someone I think high in the community, I don't remember who it is at like the media, said he's a lot like Jamal Lewis in the way he runs. So, he's a power guy. I think if you want and he's honestly the better receiver too. So that's it's such a conundrum. I don't know. ETN's looked better between the tackles recently. It's a tough call.
I guess think
Probably
about
more
it
the home
as,
run hitter.
Let's say think about it as Matt Canada is the new offensive coordinator for the Steelers.
Yeah,
and with his offense, I don't know which one would be better.
Yeah.
Value wise, like based off where they'll probably go, I'm a Javonte Williams guy. Like I'd rather have him in the slot that he's gonna go to, likely.
I can understand that for
than
sure.
where Travis Etienne will go.
That's fair.
Yeah. No complaints. No.
Dang it, Donnie. All right. Well, I think Donnie, you're up again. I think that you got back-to-back picks here because now you're working with Trevor Lawrence's new team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So their second pick. Unless you're still
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways the Jaguars can do. Obviously they went Lawrence at number 1 here, so waiting a little bit for pick number 25. I feel like you got to address, one of the defensive positions, whether it's edge, whether it's at defensive tackle. A lot of people like Christian Barmore here. Trevin Mooring, is that how you say his name, to safety out of TCU?
Mowry?
Excuse me. A lot of this. Yeah. There we go. A lot of different ways you can go here. I'm looking at the board right now, and I think Ojulari has potential to be one of the best edge players in the class, and I know his hype train's picked up a lot lately. Quiddy is also another really valuable guy that I can go here as well. I just think the Jaguars really want to solidify that defensive interior. So, with the 25th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Christian Barmore, defensive tackle, Alabama.
This is a guy that, like, people are like, man, listen, like, people in the NFL are so much higher on him than, like, draft experts. Like, scouts and GMs are all over this guy. People saying he's going to be a top 15 pick. The only way I see that happening is maybe the Pats at 15. That would be the only team I could see going in the top 15. But this is a good spot for him, I think. There's very few teams, I feel like, that really prioritize that defensive tackle position. But when you can get pressure from the inside like that, it's so valuable. So I like this spot for him. I'm glad that you mentioned Moward, though, because he would be the other guy. He's been a popular mock that I would think could potentially go here. But yeah, what do you guys, are you guys buying this, like Barmore, the hype train, at least like within the NFL being a lot higher than the draft community, if you will?
I can understand it because really the defensive tackle class at this point is either you're good at one thing or the other.
Yeah.
And like Alan McNeil, a lot of people like, that's a one tech. Like that's where he's at. Like Tyler Shelvin, if you like him, that's a space eating nose tackle. You like guys like Onwuzurike or Nixon or Togiai or Odigizua, like those are pass rushers. So I get potentially why they like Barmore a lot, because after him, it's dicey. Like Barmore has the production. He's flashed as a rusher, and I think he's good enough as a run defender to handle double teams. So I can understand it, because I feel like it's very possible it's just him, and then everybody's like, yeah, I got way too many questions elsewhere.
Listen, the most impressive thing that's going to happen is you just saying all those names of the defensive tackle class correctly.
I was about to say that's why we had Jake on the show. He brings the knowledge.
That's what I was going to say, though.
Yeah.
Listen, not to discredit Barmore. I think he's a really good player too. But is it about Barmore himself, or is it about the drop off from him to the next guy that makes him so valuable?
I would say the drop off, truthfully.
Yeah.
Not that Barmore can't be a very good player. I just don't think if you're talking about defensive tackles from the last few classes, you're saying, yeah, this Barmore guy, he's definitely a Quinnen Williams or Ed Oliver, or he's a Derek Brown or Javon Kinlaw. I don't think you necessarily put him in like that tier if you're looking at the last few classes. Maybe even Christian Wilkins, who went obviously in the top 15. Like, do you value him as much as that guy, like coming out as a prospect? I don't know. Like, I think it's just potentially the depth and so many concerns with guys not being potentially 3-down players to the point where you're like, all right, this guy might be the only one who's, going to be big time impact player that we, feel confident in.
Yeah.
So that pushed him up. I would even think the Vikings would be at least intrigued. Obviously, Dave Gettleman got to be intrigued, of course. Defensive tackle.
He could go at 11. He very well could go at 11. Maybe the Giants even move up for him.
Could you imagine?
Oh my goodness!
My
The
big issue I
Giants
have
move up
with
to
him-
4. Atlanta's trying to get out of number 4.
Just
Oh,
looking at the
man.
way our board has fallen and looking
Oh,
at any
man.
mock draft board, the big issue I have with him being a top 15 pick is that it's so tackle, quarterback, and wide receiver heavy early on, and then you throw in guys like Micah Parsons and Kyle Pitts, and then a couple corners as well in there that can go in the top 15. There's just too many guys that are way higher up than Barmore. I think that will go before him.
Right.
We can just skip the next couple picks and go to the Saints, I think.
Man, what is it with you wanting to skip my picks? Well, actually, the Saints are my pick too, so I can't really say that.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going to skip back anyway.
I mean, all right.
Nate,
With pick
You're on
28, no.
Nate, you're on the board here for the Browns.
Yep.
A lot of interesting routes that they could go here. Honestly, like I hate to say it, a team that doesn't have a whole lot of needs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
It's
a lot of
crazy.
routes they could go here. So
It was a couple of years ago. Me and Jake were still at school in our room. I was playing Madden franchise mode, like I love to do. Of course, very, very limited. But one of the teams that I actually really wanted to play as was the Browns. I don't know if you remember this, Jake, because I played it so much. But
No, I do. I just can't believe you're saying you wanted to play for the Browns on this show of all shows.
okay, well,
So,
it was a fun development, and now we're kind of starting to see why. All of these players have really come into their own, and like you said, not too many holes as a whole. That sounds horrible, but yeah, I get paid for words.
well done.
Anyway, the one thing that I do feel they depreciated, and this is kind of weird because they did sign some big names at this position, is on their defensive line. Still have Myles Garrett, one of the best, Jadeveon Clowney, and Takaris McKinley, of course, free agent signings. But with their formation, it's going to be very interesting to see. They might look for another edge rusher here that he can learn a little bit more from those guys that they brought in and have an edge rusher for the future and someone to use a little bit now.
Wow.
So with this pick, they're going to take Jason Owe from Penn State, the edge. 6'5", 257. He just turned 21 years old and just is a freaky athlete with a high motor, all the physical tools you can want. He's going to need a season to kind of come into his own, but with guys like Tack McKinley, Myles Garrett, and all of those guys to teach him and to help him along, I really think he could have a good career there. And I think it also fits a need because I don't think they're going to be too happy just running Takaris McKinley opposite Myles Garrett should they move some pieces around there.
So via Jadeveon Clowney in free agency and Jason Owe in the draft, they've added 0 sacks to their team.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But not a huge numbers guy, but we all do know, and we all know this.
That's
No sacks, but he is producing, and he
No,
was
I know.
impacting. Yeah, so
even
Oh, yeah.
Clowney very good
Yeah,
against the run.
no.
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I was so confident that Quiddy Pay was going to come out of your mouth.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I
typed
It was
in
an
already.
option.
I literally
It was an option.
I've been writing the picks down. I literally
Yeah,
wrote
I
down
typed
pay and then had to scratch it out.
Yeah, I
Yep.
typed
Would
it
he
in.
pay no matter what?
it was an
I
option.
typed it in. I thought for sure that was it.
But similar mindset, same position. There we
mean,
go.
Listen, the dude ran in the 4.3s.
It's insane. It's literally insane.
So that's nuts.
He's
Yeah.
Hey, maybe he can play tight end.
just
I'm just
crazy.
saying.
Well, the big thing I
He
like
doesn't
about
work
him
out.
too is he's got reps on both sides as well. So that's really useful and also good backup should an injury happen. they're just gonna have to coach him up a little bit along the way.
I mean that this is falling good for teams that are looking for edge help. Richie, at 27, you are the pick here. 3 of the top 5 players left on my board that I'm looking at least are edge rushers. We might see one of them come off the board here. Which direction are the Baltimore Ravens going with their first of 2 first-round picks?
I'll tell you what, the board could not have fallen any better for Baltimore right here. There's all sorts of different directions they can go right now. There are 3 terrific edge rushers. There's a few wide receivers. Trevon Moehrig has fallen on the board.
I mean,
we already have we're starting a running back at quarterback. I don't think we need more running backs in the first round.
Instead of running back by committee, they have a running back committee. Literally.
I'm happy you finally accepted that.
Yeah, just wait. We'll come. I have 2 first-round picks. I have a chance to still take a running back. It just won't be at this pick. But you have a lot of different directions that you could go here. There's a lot of really talented guys. There's offensive linemen available that you could draft to fill the void that Orlando Brown Jr. has left after trading him. I think I'm going to go a little crazy right here, though. I think I am. I'm talking myself into it. You know what? I am. With the 27th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select the do-it-all linebacker edge rusher, Zaven Collins.
Wow. Heavily linked to the Steelers. Heavily linked to the Steelers. You know what? The name that I thought was going to come out of your mouth pretty like throughout this whole process, he's been linked to the Ravens. Joseph Asai, the edge out of Texas. Like, he just seems like a Raven to me. I think he's going to end up being better as just standing over the tackle as opposed to going down a 3-point stance. I think he'd be a great Raven. But listen, you said he can do it all. I mean, I don't mind this fit here for Zaven Collins. Seems like an AFC North type player, obviously, with how often he's getting mocked to the Steelers as well throughout this process.
You know, I'm not really crazy about drafting 2 linebackers in back-to-back seasons, and I really like the upside that a guy like Malik Harrison has as you continue to develop him behind a guy like LJ Ford. But the potential of matching 2 freaky linebackers like Patrick Queen and Zaven Collins together is too enticing to not pull the trigger on. For a roster that doesn't have that many holes, maybe this is a bit of a luxury pick, but this really fills out your front 7. You would really want to add some more pass rush here, but like I said, Zaven Collins can give you some pass rushing help from the inside of the linebacking core. This is just a good pick for a good team from a good front office.
Yeah, I hate it.
That's a lot of praise.
I could have said great. I could have said elite. I thought I was
very fair.
Halfway.
Very, very fair.
Yeah.
That's the second time in this that I think the Ravens have taken the linebacker that the Saints have wanted in this simulated draft. I appreciate that. So thank you.
Well, you passed on Patrick Queen last year to draft another interior offensive lineman.
I did because
You got to protect Taysom.
yeah, Taysom's very valuable. He's old. I mean, a little old. He's up there.
Now that's a running
You guys
back
break my
quarterback.
heart anytime you say that.
Yes.
Speaking of Nate, you got the Saints
Yes.
here. I think this is what I believe. Yeah, this is your last pick of the draft. So let's go out
It
with a bang.
is. I'm going to make this a great one. The New Orleans Saints select another interior offensive lineman. No, not this year. God, I hope not this year. We'll see though. It might happen again. And Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, it's mystical. Anyway, for this pick, actually, the Saints are going to look for another need. You know, not a quarterback, of course. Not going to reach down that far. Anything Zaven Collins, they might. I was considering the effect that they could have trading up just a pick or 2 ahead of the Browns, who actually might take Zaven Collins as well. Would be an interesting fit there. I think he would have been a great fit for the Saints. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But with my pick, they're actually going to take Elijah Moore to try and get whoever's going to play quarterback. It's going to be Jameis Winston, by the way. Some help. You know, he's a versatile wideout, something they love, with soft hands and a lot of toughness. He wins from a lot of alignments. And, you know, truthfully, I think in the post-Drew Brees era, if you give a quarterback good enough wide receivers, we saw this happen with Mac Jones in college, he's going to look pretty good no matter who's throwing the ball. And truthfully, getting another weapon there, they've been okay with what they've gotten out of Traquan Smith. He's had flashes, but not quite reached that potential. So barring another random interior offensive line pick, I think wide receiver might be where they go, whether it's him or Terrace Marshall. But for me, yeah, that's the pick.
You know what? That was like my hot take. And I don't even think it's a hot take anymore. Is that Elijah Moore goes in round 1?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with that. Actually,
I thought he was the most underrated wide receiver in this draft class.
Yeah, I'm
He's
with that.
awesome.
I would love the Saints to pick him up.
He's awesome.
And that would be my personal pick right here, as well as what I think they would do.
I like it. I like it a lot. I don't really have too much to say about it because, like I said,
Great player.
A few weeks ago, I was like, Elijah Moore round 1. That's my hot take for night 1. Now it's like not even a hot take that's going to happen. It's like very possibly goes in the back end of round 1. Like Jake, very next pick, 29. This could have been an Elijah Moore spot as well.
Oh, they won't do that.
Not that they won't do that.
They won't do it.
But for you personally, you would have liked him to be on the board.
Yeah.
Packers don't like receivers that are shorter than 6'1".
Also, yeah, he's like 5'9".
You could have
they
stopped
got
it. Packers don't like receivers.
So,
Take Kyle Trask.
so like Kellen Mond is obviously the pick. Not no, like I think with them, if they're gonna take a guy who's sub 6 foot, like 5'10", 5'9", it's gonna be somebody like Tony or Moore because of how dynamic they are after the catch and what they can do in a variety of like spots on your offense. This pick is not wide receiver. It won't be if this is how the board looks. I really don't think they're going wide receiver in the first. Tackle's interesting. I think if Cosme's there, I think Green Bay makes potentially that selection. Although the one thing Green Bay does do, and they have done recently, is take players 21 and younger in the first round. So, believe it or not, the 2 players I'm looking at somehow both made it here and are not tackle, not wide receiver, not linebacker, and not corner.
You didn't say quarterback.
I did not. That's true. I didn't say not quarterback. So the 2 players, and Packers fans will lose their mind if either of the pick. I think Kwity Paye comes into the conversation for sure if he's here, and that may seem as a shock. But I think one or both of the Smith brothers is gone after this season. Probably Preston for sure. Za'Darius maybe. I think Gary takes the step, and Paye and Gary would be a lot of fun. Obviously, Paye's got some work to do as far as a pass rusher goes. But the Packers are going to select, with the 29th pick, Trayvon Merrick, the safety from TCU.
Wow.
21-year-old safety. Joe Barry's defense. What do? If you look back what the Rams have done consistently down there, they have a lot of safeties out there. They play a lot of 3 safety looks. This Packers defense, I expect them to go safety early. It may not be Merrick. Merrick might be gone in Jacksonville. It's very possible he's the pick with the Jags. But Merrick, again, a player who can play on the back end, play in the slot, play in the box, do a lot of different things for you. And I think you look at Amos and Savage, both probably not the best fits on the back end, although Amos continues to get better somehow at this point in his career playing on the back end in coverage. But when you have 3 safeties that can do so many things for you in a Joe Barry defense like Merrick, Amos, and Savage can do, I'm sorry. If I'm the Packers, this is the pick. And there is no doubt in my mind that I would take him.
I love the value. I mean, I don't think that he gets here, but should he get here, yeah, I think that's a great spot.
I think he's the pick.
I think you can play him in the slot a little bit as well. I mean, you can do so much with him.
Yep. So yeah. So I mean, I really think it's possible.
What's Packers Twitter like after this pick, you think?
Oh, they're losing it. They're like, how could you not take a tackle? But like, here's the problem. Like, honestly, I love that the Packers people who have joined this now are saying they love this because I don't know how you couldn't, truthfully. This is a defense that on the back end struggled in the NFC Championship game. I know it's not a pick at corner, but listen, Kevin King's coming back for a year. I still think the Packers very much value corner in the second round in this draft. So I don't think they'll force the issue. They never do. The problem is if the Packers fans want tackle here, the only guy I think they would even consider in the first, truthfully, based on the trends and age and athleticism, is Cosme if he's there. Truthfully. And receiver, we know that's not going to happen. So then it comes down to, do you think a top corner's there? I'm sure they love Asante Samuel Jr. I'm sure they do. They've met with him twice. I think if they pick him, it's move out of the first 6 or 7 spots to take him. So if Merrick's here, this is easy for me. I was hoping all day this was going to be the pick.
I wouldn't take Asante Samuel Jr. before like pick 55.
It's understandable. I get it. You know, that would be fun in Pittsburgh, no doubt.
If Harris and Etienne are gone at pick 24, he might go at pick 24.
Yeah.
It's possible. That'd be a lot of fun, but I think Merrick just is too much sense. I don't.
Yeah, I see no issues with that. I love the fit. Donnie, this is your last pick here. You got Buffalo, not a team with a lot of holes, but a lot of ways they could go. I know what I would do if I was here. I'm curious if we're in the same wavelength.
Yeah, we'll see.
I know
and,
we're
you
in the same
know,
bandwidth,
I'm really hoping that the GM that Zayvon Collins will be there. Great pick by the Ravens there a little bit earlier. So leaves me with a couple of different options. I mean, it's never a bad option to go and get Josh Allen some more protection. So offensive tackle might be along the right train of thought. Edge is certainly a possibility here. I mean, you know, you can never have too many pass rushers in the AFC conference with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, which it looks to be the big 3 teams, the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, moving forward to vie for that AFC crown year after year, at least at the quarterback position. They got also running back here, you know. Travis Etienne is very, very, looking nice here at the 30 spot. I just don't know round 1 would be a possibility there with both Zach Moss and Devin Singletary there. But, you know, again, the Bills don't necessarily have that home run hitting factor at the running back position. So I think you're picking pick 30 here. There's a lot of different directions you can go. I think you have the edge rush, you know, and I think Azeez Ojulari, Georgia, is going to be the pick here. I mean, a phenomenal, almost athletic freak here, rushing the edge. He doesn't have a lot of muscle on him. I think he can definitely grow into that, though. But just in terms of getting to the quarterback, especially here at pick number 30, you're not going to find a lot of value.
I am happy that you brought up the possibility of ETN, though. Like, even with them spending draft picks the last 2 years on running back, like, they're kind of in a spot, like I said, where they don't have many holes on their roster, that they could use that pick on Travis Etienne because he's so different from what's currently on that roster. They don't have that home run hitter in the backfield. So that's certainly a possibility. You did go the route that I thought that they would, though, with edge. You didn't take the player that I thought, but you went the same route in terms of position. So Azeez Ojulari, I think that he needs to add a little bit of mass to his frame.
Yeah.
But listen, when he gets into an NFL conditioning and strength program, I think that the ceiling is very high for a player like Ojulari in Buffalo. So I like the pick.
Thanks.
Who has 30? Oh, never mind. Can we give the pick back to the Chiefs and bring in somebody to draft for them?
Do we get Orlando Brown back?
No,
I would. Oh,
yeah. Brady came in here earlier and said, "Imagine having a first."
Yeah, Brady.
Yeah.
Yes, love it. But hey,
no, but the Ravens are on the clock here with their second first round selection. Based off where you went the first round, I mean, this opens the door to a lot of different possibilities.
Yeah. So I can't talk. This is the pick that we got in return for trading Orlando Brown Jr. away. And this is the pick that we are going to use to draft his replacement and potentially get yourself a really good key cog at multiple positions on the offensive line, depending on how this guy pans out. So with the 31st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Alex Leatherwood, offensive lineman from Alabama. The amazing part of this pick is you can slide him over to right tackle, and if in a worst-case scenario he just can't play on the outside, you can kick him inside the guard or even the center, which are both places where Baltimore could use help on the line. It's a good offensive line, but it's a very much an offensive line by committee approach outside of a guy like Ronnie Stanley. Leatherwood would give them that opportunity to have another very important and very good piece, and he's a good run blocker. Alabama knows how to run block because they run the ball so well, and Baltimore loves running the football. Leatherwood just feels like a Baltimore Ravens kind of pick here.
You mentioned Orlando Brown Jr.'s replacement. I didn't know you were drafting Alejandro Villanueva.
He'll be our swing tackle. We love swing tackles.
I unfortunately do like this pick. I think he gives you some versatility on the offensive line there. So I guess taking Zaven Collins, did that take edge off your board just because it can provide a little bit of that? Because they need some pass rush help.
Oh, they definitely do. But I believe that Baltimore might be looking to do a pass rush by committee. When you look at the amount of money that they have spent in their secondary, they're clearly comfortable with having a below average to average pass rush in front of them because that secondary is going to buy another 2 to 2 seconds of coverage and allow that pass rush to get home. It is a very tempting opportunity to add more pass rush, especially after losing Yannick Ngakoue and after losing Matt Judon and after losing Jihad Ward. You definitely need more pass rushing help, but I think that this is a team that's going to rely on its secondary to get pass rushing help.
You know, Bucky Brooks wants them to go like a college route of just, develop an edge. They get really good right when their contract's about to expire, and then they move on, kind of like a college system. They do that at edge instead of at quarterback. So Bucky Brooks should appreciate what they do at edge.
Yes, and they do that as well as any other team in the league.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm the last pick here. I got Tampa, and you want to talk about not having, a lot of holes on the roster. They were returning literally every starter from their Super Bowl winning team. So this is a real luxury pick here. I'm looking a little bit down the line here. The value's just too good. There's only 2 players that I would potentially take here. It's going to be Kwity Paye for me. I'm just thinking about, they obviously, like Jason Pierre-Paul, he's still there. He's still producing at a decent level, but he's on his last legs. They need somebody else on the opposite of Shaq Barrett. I almost said Lawson. Shaq Barrett. So I think that Kwity Paye would be the pick here if the board falls like this. I think it's a great scenario for them. Again, they don't need an immediate starter. Not that Kwity Paye couldn't be, but man, like when you're getting him at pick 32, that value is just way too good. And that wraps it up.
That really hurts.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Pay to 32. That hurts. Yeah.
That is.
I was
the other player ETN?
Yeah, it would have been.
Okay.
And what's interesting about him, not that they don't have guys that can contribute in that running back room. Like you have obviously like Fournette coming back, Ronald Jones is there. Like they have okay guys in the running back room. But again, there you have this pick at 32 with no immediate needs right now on their roster. So they can do whatever they want, and you can't really question it.
Yeah, which is scary. Beyond belief. Like, doesn't matter what they do. Maybe they take Elijah Moore. Like
that's a spot that I can see too. Like if Antonio Brown doesn't come back, like it's widely thought that he's going to end up re-signing there. But if he doesn't, like they could stand to add another receiver. So at the back end of round 1, if an Elijah Moore is there, maybe like Kadarius Toney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's back-to-back years in this mock draft that Tampa has taken an edge. Because last year I had them and I took Chase on.
Yeah, that's right. And that would have been.
I'm assuming Wirfs didn't fall to them in that one that we did.
No,
I can't imagine. So
I think the one that we did, all 4 of the top tackles were gone in the top 10.
Mm-hmm. I think,
But Thomas was definitely not the first one.
I don't think so.
He was probably like the 3rd or 4th one.
Yeah.
Because I had the Giants, and like I said, I took Simmons, just thinking, Gettleman.
I know.
This guy could play anywhere in defense.
Yeah.
What did I have? I had someone that was in like the 7 to 9 range, and I took Mekhi Becton. I remember that.
Wasn't it the Jets at 9?
Did I?
I thought you took him.
Yeah, I actually think I did.
Could be.
Yeah.
Genius.
Similar to me with the Raiders. If you,
that's
don't
true.
Picks, you're gonna have to put it in your bio.
and I'm gonna get. I'm probably gonna get at least one of the 2 Jets picks right. So
that is true.
Who was? Was it Vera Tucker?
It's gonna be Samuel Cosmi.
Oh, was it
Kidding.
Cosme?
Yeah, it was
Cosme?
Yeah,
Cosme.
I typed of Cosme. Freaking
You wanted it to be
Jake.
there, Tucker.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
You
Yeah.
wanted it to be.
Literally, Jake took 2 of my potential picks.
Oh, you know.
You hate to see
Who,
it.
so I don't know if you guys were keeping track of everybody else's picks. I mean,
Yes.
were there any that were just like off the wall to you? I mean, who do you think got the best value here? I'm just
Nate-
looking at this.
Nate Rashad Bateman, 12.
Is your
Off the
favorite
wall,
pick or-
but
off the wall,
off the wall.
okay.
But I mean, when it's a guy like Bateman, I don't care. Truthfully, like
Yeah.
I mean,
don't care at that point.
I think best value Panthers getting Sewell at 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah,
Easily.
yeah.
I don't think that there was really a wrench thrown into anything until it was Bateman at 12. Like I'm looking at this and it's kind of just like going
Freaking
along. Like even though Soul fell to 8, like there's a path there.
Yeah,
Did that happen?
absolutely. There
Like
is.
The thing
Yeah,
with it is,
he
it's
went-
okay because there's going to be 6 trades before we get that far anyway.
He went to
Yeah.
8, but if you look at literally every other pick we made, like Lawrence, Wilson, Lance, Fields, Chase, Pitts, Waddle, like none of those are really, you can't argue them.
Yeah, you could maybe argue the Bengals because you want to protect Burrow, but it certainly
Mac
doesn't
Jones would
seem
like a
like
word.
Mac Jones would like a word. Yeah,
I gotta give a. By the way, Donnie's not in here anymore. I gotta give a shout. Oh wait, here he might be back for the end of this.
Perfect.
He grinded through this like a Steelers fan watching the 2019 season. I gotta give him credit.
Can we just get a little?
yeah. Get a little clap. There we go.
For the black screen. There it is.
But no, I mean, thanks to all you guys, obviously, for doing this. It was a lot of fun. Man,
Always.
hour and 40 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun. I am curious. I'm gonna save this. I'm taking a screenshot. We didn't do any trades though, so we know that this isn't going to be accurate. But it's going to be interesting to see how close it is to accurate. I think at the top of this, man, it could very well be the way that this goes down. The one thing that I'm really curious about, I'm not buying that smoke screen. Doesn't sound like any of us are. If Mac Jones doesn't go at 3, the only question is, does Fields go at 4? And then if that's the case,
Yeah,
this top, I don't know, 6 at least is probably looking pretty good.
Yeah.
yeah. Like you
Fields
said,
goes at 4.
if Fields could even go at 4 and it not be Atlanta, obviously. So there is that option. That
Yeah.
John
We could definitely
Elway's
see
feeling confident.
Atlanta's in a great spot.
They are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Either they're getting my second favorite quarterback, or not my second favorite, my QB2 of this class. They could take a Kyle Pitts and get the best non-quarterback in this class, or they could get an absolute haul for one of these teams that wants to move up for a franchise quarterback. I mean, no matter what they do, they're going to look like geniuses. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that because they could. they
Mac
could.
Jones.
They could
There you
make like
go.
a Cleveland Farrell at 4 type pick, and
Oh, you take like Barmore at 4?
yeah, we already said that, but we said it as the Giants coming up. Now, if
True.
Atlanta stays there,
Could you
it
imagine?
takes,
Could you imagine?
I gotta say,
I'm here for it.
my least favorite pick, and not because it's a bad pick, it's the one that I hate the most, is J.C. Horn to the Patriots.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
thrilled with that one either.
Horn and her.
I mean, you didn't
That's
let
like,
the Saints trade up to get it, so it's.
I think
Yeah,
Donnie last year gave the Pats Justin Herbert after trading down or something like that. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we
Well,
making? the
Could you
Pats-
imagine?
Well, the one mock draft we didn't even take him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. The one that we did, like, I think that was the Madness one, though, right?
Yeah,
We didn't get
I think
Yeah,
paid.
I
we
think
didn't
so.
even take him.
we
We're
got
really
to
good
the
at
end of
this.
it. We were like, hold on.
We were great at that.
We
Let me
only
tell
took
you.
2 quarterbacks. In
Nailed
this
it.
first round.
Excellent.
But Damon Arnett at 19.
True.
You
Who's
hit
gonna
it.
be? Here's the fun. Yeah, that's the fun question. Who's gonna nail a pick that's like maybe like not
That's not-
consensus?
That's not Lawrence or Williams
Like,
or
super
Wilson.
random.
Yeah, like maybe not even Lance at 3 or Chase.
I'm
or
going with.
Pitts.
I think Nate with the Saints with Elijah Moore.
I think that one makes a lot of sense.
That's a good one.
They love to draft wide receivers and offensive linemen, and
Yeah.
you know it's just one of those things. For this team to succeed, I think they have to create opportunities for Alvin Kamara, and Michael Thomas can be doubled. Alvin Kamara can be doubled. When you add a third guy that's consistently productive into that, it'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
I think that would be the one that if you were making me pick one of those picks towards the end of the round, that I think has the best chance of happening, that's the one I'm rolling with.
I'm sticking with my pick of Darasota, Minnesota.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I'm just thinking like Slater probably won't be there the pick beforehand. So
I think there's a chance that if we had Slater and Sewell flipped just by team, I think there's a chance that actually goes down. Because I think if through 6 picks Sewell is available, I do think Telesco may be like, listen, Detroit, what do you want? Let's get Sewell for Herbert, and then Slater goes at 8. I think that's something that I think we thought about when we were talking about those picks, but I think that's something that could go down. I honestly just want JOK to be the Raiders pick, so Smitty's an insider. Like that's what I want to see. I'm not feeling the same way. I will say that.
Hey,
I'm not feeling the exact same way as
if I get Mekhi Becton, Zach Wilson, and Samuel Cosme 3 picks in 2 years, I mean, they basically want to hire me at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they should.
Yeah. So how do we feel about Kadarius Toney not going in the first here?
With the depth of the wide receiver class, I'm not that mad about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think he
it's not going to
goes?
surprise me. It's not going to surprise me if he does.
At all?
I mean, you would.
Undrafted free agent.
Seems like an odd question. I don't know.
Oh man.
I think
I'm
he
gonna
goes
say
early day 2.
I'm gonna say no.
early
He
too.
doesn't go in the first round.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm on board with that early too.
Interesting.
I think you look at maybe, like I said, so the Jets have 2, they have 23, and then they pick again with the second pick on day 2. I think maybe that's a spot for him. If he ends up being but you still have like Terrace Marshall on the board for us as well. Not that like I'm huge on him, but I mean,
A lot of people are.
yeah. So
Like just looking at the teams like at the end of the first round. Maybe the Saints take him.
Yeah.
I mean, the Packers aren't going to take him, but they probably should.
Yeah.
They're not.
I'll tell you what, I got a new hot take at the wide receiver position since Elijah Moore has kind of fallen off the hot take radar because he's on the radar now. Dimey Brown goes day 1.
Love him.
I would have said yes if the Chiefs were still picking at 31.
Fair.
Like I truthfully think that would have been the case. Ooh, Raiders get Toney. That's interesting. That's an interesting thought.
Ooh, Toney and Ruggs. I mean,
they lost a lot of their O-line, but hey, those are weapons now. Okay, those are weapons.
I'm trying to think of another guy like that would be such a Gruden like off the board. I'm mad that the Seahawks don't have a first round pick because they're always the team that would like if they had a pick this year. If they had a pick this year, they're taking Boogie Basham round 1.
Or Trey Sermon, they love their running backs.
You put some respect on Trey Sermon's name right now.
Oh no, I think he's good. I think he's good.
This meeting.
I think he's good. No, I like Trey Sermon a lot. So maybe that's the wrong
Steeler fans don't.
Maybe that's the wrong name. But like
take Tutu Atwell, round 1.
2-2.
Okay, I'm gonna say this.
People talk about
Boogie Basham.
Yeah.
I think he's in play for Green Bay at 29, and I don't
really.
I do.
I don't think he's a bad player. I don't either.
I think he's in play at 29, truthfully, and that's a little concerning to me. But man, everything that like the way the board falls makes me think that we are just, as Packers like analysts, we are so wrong. Probably so. We'll see, but
we talked about last year because of like the whole process being weird, and this year wasn't like fully back to normal either. Like, what type of disconnect do we see between the draft community and how it actually goes down on draft night? I mean, we're going to see how it plays out, but like, for example, let's use Peter Schrader as an example here because he was on Pat McAfee's show and he was talking about he doesn't watch like any tape at all, yet his mocks are constantly like in the top like 3% most accurate. because I was talking to
the 1 year where he had, I don't remember what year it is now because these things are, I love all these things, but he had 1 year, he had the two safeties, Carl Joseph and Keanu Neal, in the first. He had them both completely right in the first, when I think a lot of people were not expecting that at all. So, yeah, I agree. He's tuned in. I mean,
and that's the thing is he said he doesn't watch any tape at all. He has no idea, like, really about these prospects. He just uses his connections throughout the league and gets a feel. And he ends up having one of the most accurate mock drafts. And for Steeler fans, if you're still watching this, just to, give you a little bit of inside information on what he's got going on, his latest mock has Eric Stokes Jr. at 24 to the Steelers. The cornerback out of Georgia. We did not take him.
He's fast.
First round.
He's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fast. Like, wouldn't shock me if somebody takes him. And I know Joe Tryon is the other one that's getting a lot of buzz.
Ooh.
First round right now.
Yep.
Wouldn't shock me if, obviously the Bucks at the end of the first could easily do that. Because I think there's a really good chance.
Can do anything.
There's a really good chance, obviously, that Kwity Paye, we think, probably is not there for them. Yeah. But
Kyle Trask will be.
Even the Bills, who Donnie took Ojulari, which I think is a really good pick. I think there's a chance that they could do that as well. Browns, Jags, they have 2 picks.
Oh, I want to. We got to wrap this up, but last thing I want to ask, just because this is kind of coming in with some steam as we approach draft night. Do we see Davis Mills or Kellen Mond go in the back end of round 1? Not necessarily a team that's sitting there right now, but does somebody else move up in that maybe already had an earlier selection?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. Definitely not Kellen Mond.
Yeah. It stinks because Davis Mills, I think, is interesting, but he has started 11 games. Wish he had gone back.
That's what I'm saying.
I think he'd be much more interesting to be talking about him next year, truthfully. But because
I'm just sad Cole McDonald's not in this draft.
Could be QB5.
My guy.
I forgot about that whole thing last year.
Yeah.
That went on for a while.
Wait, hold on. Since this is a Steelers show, round 4 and 2, Pittsburgh. All right, rest of you guys. Is Najee Harris going to be a Steeler?
Yes.
No.
My big question is not whether they would take him or not. My question
so.
is he going to even be there?
See,
that's the question.
Yeah.
Do you see that over there?
I see a lot of things over there. What
Yeah,
about
there's
the
a lot
alcohol?
of things.
The
The water
That's
bottle
my-
is closest to me.
That's my bar. There's going to be a lot more stuff on that bar on draft night that's going to be drank if Najee Harris is picked 24.
That's the thing. I personally don't think he's going to be there for the Steelers, even though everybody's mocking him there.
Yeah.
And
No,
people,
listen,
people in
I love
interviews
Najee.
are telling him he's going to be a Steeler.
Yeah. I love Najee. I think he's going to be a great player. I think he would be a great player for Pittsburgh. It's just with everything else going on, I just don't think he's the right pick.
And Kellen Mond is.
Smitty during the draft shows just sitting there like, Miami or the Jets, please.
Oh,
Please do it.
Speaking of the draft show, yeah. Thursday night, be sure to tune in. We're going to have a ton of giveaways and stuff in the live stream that we're doing for the first round. I've put out the tweets, obviously, for them all. I don't feel like walking across my room and getting the box and stuff, but you guys know what the giveaways are at this point. So be sure to tune in probably 15 minutes before the draft starts. So I'd say 7:45 Eastern. Going to be a great time. Don't know if any Jake, are you guys doing your stuff?
We are.
Okay. So if you're not tuned into this, you better be tuning into that, but tune into this.
Yeah. No arguments here. No arguments here. They're going to be.
Dual
Yeah,
screen.
just do
yeah,
dual
you-
screen,
Yeah.
It'll just be like we're all in one room again. That's easy. It'll be.
Yeah, that would be something.
Closing thoughts.
Ravens
Lan-
flock till the day I die.
Trey
All right.
Lance to the Niners, baby.
I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good
Anybody
about
but Mac Jones.
I just
Kyle
want to
Trask, round
see.
1.
I just want to see the meltdowns if he is the pick. I don't. He shouldn't be the pick, but man, could you imagine? 4 days from now, we're sitting here and they actually picked him.
They're replacing Jimmy Garoppolo with Mac Jones.
with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, with
Jimmy Garoppolo.
yeah, exactly. Like, oh my
That's what I don't understand about the argument. It's like if you're
Oh, I know.
comparing them and saying that's why he's good for Kyle Shanahan's system, then why are they replacing him? Like, isn't the whole idea of trading those draft picks to move up to get an upgrade? Why would you just get the exact same player?
Yeah,
Trading
I think it's
manager for a game manager. Gotta love it.
But here's the problem. I think a lot of us, you know, on the outside now are like, yeah, it's Trey Lance, right? Like, it's got to be Trey Lance, you know? And that's maybe what concerns me. Because I feel like, you know, we are, it's just half, we mentioned earlier, it's half and half, you know, around the league. Like, I do worry that everybody thinks now it's Trey Lance, and now it's not going to be Trey Lance. But we have 4 days to get through the smoke screen left.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we have left. So,
Yep.
How stupid are we going to feel when Mac Jones is the best quarterback in the draft?
Very.
yo, if he's
Really
the best
stupid.
quarterback in this draft, man, we're going to
That's
look
the
back
thing.
and be
If
like,
they were
what did
if they were like
evaluators
next year
do?
or something? So be it. But like this year, because I've said before, like any of those 4 guys in a lot of draft classes, they're the number 1. So
Yeah.
if Mac Jones comes out of this as QB1, we might have to shut the show down.
Yeah. To your point,
All the-
I think
can you
especially 2019, where even Kyler was the first pick, like everybody knew he's the first. I think all 4 of these guys, put them there, they're all QB1 there. Truthfully.
Next
Could you
year,
imagine-
if any of those guys stayed at school?
Oh yes,
QB1.
if Lance stayed, he's the favorite to go 1. Like
The
has to
hot
be.
takes, the things that we've said on this show about Mac Jones, if he ends up being QB1 from this class, we're screwed.
Yeah, maybe doing like the 1 chip challenge live or something.
Hey, I already said my hot take. Zach Wilson.
One that's
QB1
failure
in
in
5
Jacksonville's
years.
fault. All I'm saying.
No bias at all, by the way.
I if I were to bet on someone not named Lawrence, it's Fields. But hey, I mean, it's not hard to look at Zach Wilson and love it.
Here's my big argument for it, and it's not even a big argument for it. Is
Okay.
that if you're going 2nd overall, why can't you be?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I feel like everybody wants to say, and I'm not even talking about just for Wilson. I mean, like Lawrence, or besides Lawrence, Lance and Fields. Most people just automatically say Lawrence is going to be far and away the best quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
But I mean, any of those other guys very well could be. They're all going to go in the top
How trash.
10 picks. So if you're top 10 pick in the NFL draft, why can't you be the top quarterback of that class?
Oh, 100%. But then we remember another lovely quarterback who went 2nd overall, Mr. Mitchell Trubisky. And then we think to ourselves,
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ryan Leaf.
oh, well, yeah, him too.
Another one.
Him too.
Three's company.
Recency bias.
Wentz and Mariota were both 2nd overall picks. They're on new teams. So,
All right. Well,
Should
I
be
can't
fun.
thank you guys enough. One more time, if you guys kind of want to go around and tell the lovely people where they can find your stuff, have at it. Start with Jake, actually, since you're up top with us.
woo. Well, yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff on NFLmocks.com, a lot of draft stuff there, doing some team coverages, and doing a lot of stuff on YouTube as well, hopefully expanding to every NFL team. That's the goal. Can't wait to get there. And starting up a podcast again pretty soon. So that'll be
There
exciting.
you go.
So
What's your YouTube channel?
YouTube channel?
Shout it out.
It's Jake Shavink NFL. That will be tough to spell, I will say. But do a lot of Packers stuff. If you search Green Bay Packers right now, I'm pretty confident you scroll down, you can.
Yeah, I've been
find.
looking. You get a good amount of views on your stuff. I guess
Packers
they
fans
just-
are very active.
I put it in the
space. Oh, well, thank you.
comments as well. So
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm excited to do every NFL team draft recaps. Hopefully have the wonderful guys from the Steelers here on, and hopefully Richie and Nate on for when their teams are recapped as well. So
and not Richie.
no?
Nope.
Okay.
Jake, I just went on YouTube on my blank account, my personal email, and you were the 5th video to come up with Green Bay Packers in the
There you
search
go.
bar.
the Packers, they consume content like
So well
nobody's
done.
business. So they consume it like nobody's business. It's crazy.
Yeah, so be sure to follow Jake and also subscribe to his YouTube channel. I saw he passed 100 subscribers, but that should be more like 100,000. So go and jump on it.
We'll get there eventually.
Donnie, if you can maybe, I don't know, if you can get like a hamster running on the treadmill real quick to tell us about
dude.
how they can find you.
Oh man, bro, let me tell you the strongly worded email I'm going to write right after we're done with this, bro. You have no clue.
Yeah,
No.
this is not reflective of Donnie's work at all. Steelers.com, by the way.
It might be, but I think
Neither is his
Oh,
Najee
man.
Harris pick.
yeah, man. Follow me on Twitter at Donnie Druin. You can find my stuff at si.com/NFL/Steelers. I do a podcast with Noah Strackbein from All Steelers as well. It comes out every Thursday. Like I said, the third or fourth member, I'm not really sure what it is right now, of Around the 412, fantasy show, always supporting the boys. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, Richie, go ahead, I guess.
I know I'm not winning very many popularity contests here on the Steelers podcast, but for what it's worth, I am a pretty fun guy. They call me the Mushroom because I am a fun guy. Follow me at Richie Brads with a D 36 on Twitter for a good time.
Good stuff.
Whatever, all you guys.
No,
I love
no,
it. Richie, I love it. I
I
love it.
will co-sign on the fun guy, not the mushroom joke, but Richie is a fun guy.
There you go.
It's not a
No.
mushroom.
I'll say the same thing that we did last year when we had you, a Ravens person, on a Steelers podcast. Why not, follow somebody that's behind enemy lines that can tell you a little bit about your divisional rival?
It's true.
So that's
There
why
you
you should
go.
follow Richie. And last but absolutely least, Nate.
Was this for the Patriots pick? Is that why? Is that what this is for?
Yeah, what
Had
the
you
heck? Gilmore and J.C. Horn, are you kidding me? Come on.
Well,
Yeah.
Put
And
some
Jason
respect on Jason
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah, and JC.
okay, fair.
Although Gilmore's getting traded.
What's up? What?
Gilmore's getting traded anyway, so.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Yeah,
Also-
of course.
Sir, Rappaport just tweeted it's down to Jones or Lance.
I saw that.
Lance. He was watching the show. That's
Stevenson.
why he had to make sure he got that out there.
It's
Yeah,
Lance
true.
Stevenson. Right?
True. True. He's like, oh, Smitty's a Raiders insider. He got to know about this. Bay Area makes sense to me.
I could see it, honestly.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at NateJW Sports. I took a little bit off for a while, but now I'm back with the Canal Street Chronicles podcast.
Nice.
Soon to potentially be moving to Texas, so I may pick up another team to write about down there, not the Cowboys. But it'll be a fun journey. So come along. I do a lot of nature stuff too. You can check out if you would like. So come follow me, but follow them first.
Yeah, if there's a pecking order.
Yeah, if there's a pecking order, drop me down. I am wearing a soccer show. Oh, so is Donnie. Never mind. I'm not. I'm out of this. We're good. We're
good.
Super League.
Nah.
Massive
Oh.
Super League fan.
But yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys letting me be here.
Absolutely.
It's a
It
blast.
was a lot of fun. Yeah, Beefy decided
See
to
it.
switch to a Chelsea hat for the last.
I see it, my
Super
boy.
League. What can I say?
No, this was an absolute blast. I'm glad that we did this for a second straight year. Now it's just all about those smoke screens, man. Can we get through them? Were we accurate? Were we able to see through those? It's going to be interesting to find out, but I can't thank you guys enough for joining us. To everybody watching or listening back, whatever it might be, we can't thank you enough for tuning in. Be sure to join us, like I said, for Thursday night's live stream. We'll also be doing a Penn show later in the week, but if you're watching this, you might not care about that as much as you're a football fan. But either way, thanks to everybody for joining, both you guys and watching at home, and we will see you next time.